Welcome back to News Geelong. The latest exhibition showing at the Geelong Gallery is titled Corporeal, a print exchange folio. Ian Nichols has more.
Once again we find ourselves down here at the Geelong Art Gallery and another very special exhibition. It's called Corporeal. Printmakers have contributed, 23 of them in all, to an outstanding exhibition. And the curator of the Geelong Art Gallery, Lisa Sullivan, explains the whole process behind Corporeal.
It's a wonderful exhibition of prints, and it includes the work of 23 contemporary Australian printmakers responding to the theme of the body very broadly in some instances, some very literal, some very cryptic responses to the body. And it's a portfolio that's been curated by Rona Green, who's a very well-known Australian printmaker. She's actually a Geelong-born artist, which is fantastic, but she's doing very well both nationally and internationally with her practice. And what she does, she's done a number of these projects with us in the past, 50 and 52, which some of your viewers may have visited here at the gallery in recent years. But this one is an exhibition or print portfolio of 23 works. So what Rona does is she invites, in this case, 22 other artists to be involved in the portfolio project. She sets the theme and the size of the paper, and she invites a range of printmakers that use a diverse array of printmaking processes as well. And then each of the artists create the desired number, in this case 23 prints, as well as 2 artist proofs. And what visitors to the gallery will see is one of the artist proofs framed for exhibition, which then returns to the artist, the creator, after the exercise of the exhibition. And fortunately for the gallery, another artist proof actually comes into our collection, which is fantastic. And in Corporeal, we have a range of different artists, some of which are already represented in our collection as major Australian printmakers, and some who are new names to our collection, which is great.
And also they get a print as well, so it's very collaborative, the whole situation here, isn't it?
It is absolutely. Each of the artists receive an unframed version of their collaborators' works, and it's a wonderful exercise that Rona initiates and curates. It's great for contemporary printmakers to be creating new works in the first instance, exhibiting new works, and also sharing them with their colleagues.
I might point out that right behind you is Rona Green's work that she's contributed to this exhibition, which is quite outstanding.
It's fabulous, and she's an artist that's very well known to us. She's been a regular submitted to our Geelong Contemporary Print Prizes, and we've got a number of her works in the collection. She works very much with animals as her source material. So while we're looking at this exhibition being about the body, it's not specifically the human body. A number of artists have also looked at animal bodies and as I said, very cryptic interpretations of the body, which is fantastic. But Rona's works often anthropomorphise animals, so give to animals very human traits, and in this instance the dog's smoking a cigarette there, and it's got a range of different tattoos that help create an identity for the dog itself.
Well, now it's time to say goodbye from the Geelong Art Gallery and their latest exhibition, Corporeal. This is Ian Nichols for News Geelong.
Thank you, Ian. Drummond House was the venue this week for the Aged Care Forum, where Senator Concheta Figueira-Wells and Shadow Minister for Ageing and Mental Health, and Senator Michael Ronaldson, Shadow Minister for Veteran Affairs. They discussed aged care policy with key stakeholders from across the region.
Been very, very good, and can I thank my friend and colleague Senator Ronaldson, and it's a pleasure to be here with Sarah and with Peter as we have met with providers. This is a very difficult time for the aged care sector. This is a sector where 60% of providers are operating in the red. It is a sector that's very much in crisis. Regrettably, this government has talked about reform, but we are not seeing the sort of reform that's necessary to deliver 2 basic things. As I travel around Australia, older Australians say to me that they want care where they need it, when they need it and how they need it, and the current system does not give them that. And again, this message has been reinforced reinforced as I've spoken to stakeholders here. From the provider perspective, they need certainty and flexibility, and regrettably the knee-jerk reactions of this government and some of its recent actions, particularly in relation to taking out $1.6 billion worth of funding and supposedly returning that in a workforce compact, which we are now seeing disintegrate for what it really is, and that is a union-driven, union-based drive for members into the HSU, the defunct HSU, and United Voice, which is Minister Butler's union. And so this is not helping the sector. It's creating even more uncertainty. It's creating even more angst in a sector that's already in crisis.
So what sorts of issues have been raised by the providers?
Well, the same sort of issues that I've heard in other areas around Australia, particularly and even more so because this is a regional and rural issues, the inability of providers to provide the services that people are demanding, not because they're not good providers, but because they simply just don't have the resources to meet the demand that's out there. And this is one of the problems. The system does not give the flexibility to allow these providers to do a lot more than what they currently do. The demand is there. We are an ageing population. We constantly talk about being an ageing population, but regrettably the system that this government has with its over-regulation, when I hear, and yet again it's been reinforced this morning, when you have aged care nurses spending 35% or more of their time doing paperwork for the Commonwealth, they are not caring for the older Australians that need their care, that need their attention. Again, I've heard issues about training and workforce issues, funding issues, the impact that those funding cuts have made on the sector. This is a 24/7 sector that needs to deliver care both in a residential setting and in a community setting, and regrettably the system that we have in place is not meeting those demands.
It's an emotional time, isn't it?
Well, it's a very emotional time, and that's indeed why Sarah Henderson and Peter Reid have asked Senator Randy Wells to come to Geelong today. This is a very, very big issue for non-metropolitan Australia in Geelong, in Corangamite, in Corio. There are some very, very personal questions about this, and it's about time we got some answers. Now, you cannot keep on running away from the issue. And Senator Randy Wells has travelled all over Australia, as I have with Veterans Affairs forums, to get feedback from the sector. You can't make these decisions from Canberra. They've got to be made on the back of local knowledge, and that's why Sarah and Peter invited Connie to be here so she can hear firsthand, both in relation to the mental health issues and also the aged care issues.
So these issues that have been raised today will become part of your policy making?
This is a very, very important part of this process, and Sarah and Peter and myself are working with Connie in relation to those particular areas. Sarah and Peter and I are working together in relation to the Veterans Affairs issues, and if you don't hear the stories firsthand, if you're not on the ground hearing what's really happening, then you're not getting the full picture, and that's why we're here and that's why we're doing what we're doing.
And now for the latest update for the Geelong and Surf Coast weather for the next 6 days. Today was mostly sunny and reached a top of 23. For the weekend, Saturday will be mostly sunny, expecting a top of 25. Rain will develop on Sunday with a maximum of 23 degrees, and for the working week, Monday will reach 17 degrees with a clearing shower. A possible shower on Tuesday, also 17 degrees. Wednesday's top will be 16 and a mostly cloudy day, and still some cloud about on Thursday and a cool maximum of only 14 degrees. This is News Geelong, and following the break, Alex Tigani will bring us up to date with all the local Geelong and Surf Coast sport.